This video is sponsored by BeamJobs, but more on that later in the video. I applied to more than 200 software engineering internships and I got 9 interviews and 1 offer. Unless you're living under a rock, you know how difficult it is to get any job or internship in this job market. But I'm not here to complain because we're all going through it. People say that job apps and internship apps are a numbers game. And they're right, but that's assuming that you already have a solid resume and you're tailoring your applications to each position. At first, I had a pretty trash resume and I was just rapid firing to just a bunch of online application portals, and clearly that didn't work out. So what I did was I sat down and took time to slowly go through my resume, and I tailored my resume to each application I made. And after that, I started hearing back from companies and I was starting to get interviews. And nowadays, it's super important to have relevant internship experience to get a full-time job because companies value trust over anything. If they see that you performed a certain task at a company successfully, they'll be like, okay, this person was able to do this specific task using this tech stack on a professional level. And so your chances of hearing back will increase significantly and it'll boost your chances of landing a job. Now that being said, here are 3 lessons I learned from my software engineering internship application journey. Number 1. Have a solid resume. Now this one is the first and most important step. If you don't have a good resume, companies won't even care to look at it, and you won't even have a chance to interview with the company at all. To get started on making a solid resume or to improve your resume, you can use BeamJobs, which is our first sponsor of the channel. BeamJobs is the best resume builder out there with over 2 million resumes created in the last few years. People who've used BeamJobs have been hired at top companies like Google, Meta, Stripe, and more. You can either choose from a list of templates and work your way from there, or you can upload your pre-existing resume to improve it. There's also a feature where you can upload your resume and it will use AI to give you a score for your resume and suggestions on how to improve it. So if you look here, I just uploaded my current resume and it gave me a score of 90. And if you check the sidebar, you can see the different suggestions that it makes. You're falling behind if you're not using tools like this. Leverage your resources to achieve success. If you want to create your first resume or enhance your current one, check out BeamJobs using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. So I want to share the basic outline of my resume so that you can use it as reference. This resume has gone through a lot of changes based off of the internships I applied to. So firstly, education is on top because companies do care if you are attending a university. Right after that is my work experience, which are my past internships. Some people think work experience should go on top first, but I think it's better to have your education first because you're applying to internship as a student, right? So companies would like to know what education you're receiving and how well you're doing it. Your experience will be the most important thing on your resume, so make sure that you have in-depth descriptions of what you did and how you made an impact, right? Include metrics like I increased user retention by 10% and whatnot, because companies love numbers. Now here's my technical skills section. I would say don't just randomly include technology that you've used maybe only a few times. Take a look at the required skills section in the job description and write any skills and technologies that you're good at or used many times. You want to have as many keywords matching in the description and your resume. And now to my project section. If you don't have internship experience or you only have one, this section will be the most important section. Here, you want to include projects that are relevant to the positions you're applying to. So if you're applying to a fintech, include the stock market prediction project in there. If you're applying to an AI company, include the ML project you worked on. Make sure you include the tech stack you use, and if it was a group project, write how you personally contributed to the project. And to be honest, you want to include an AI project whether you're applying to any industry. Companies these days love AI. And here I have a campus involvement and relevant courseworks and interests. I included this to show my leadership experiences, important CS classes I've taken, and other interests to show that I can wear many hats and that I'm a human. Leadership experience is important to include, so I included the time I was a president for my school's computer science club. And I wrote what I did and how many people were in the club and how I impacted people and stuff. Obviously, I'm not saying that this is the best resume and everyone should copy it. This is just what worked for me. Barely, I guess. And honestly, I'm definitely gonna make constant changes to this resume for future jobs that I'm applying to. Second one is don't focus on only getting a big tech internship. Sure, when we all started CS, our dream was to get into FANG and get that 6-figure salary as a student intern. Unless you're a genius or someone who already has a big tech internship, don't rely too much on getting that high-paying big tech internship. It's an internship, so what's more important is what you learn and the experiences that you gain through that internship. I know plenty of people who had small internships at like obscure companies, and after graduation, they were able to get their dream job, their big tech job. What they did was they were able to leverage leverage the experiences and projects that they worked on to build a good resume. It's not the end of the world if you don't get a big tech internship, although it would be ideal. Because of the current economic states and job market, you have to learn how to diversify your skills and interests in order to adapt to the rapid changes. Third one is review CS fundamentals and use NeetCode.io for technical interview prep. Large companies test on whether you know how to solve algorithm problems, while mid to smaller level companies tend to test whether you have a good grasp of CS fundamentals, and also a little bit of algorithms. I'm not too sure why, but big tech only wants to hire you if you can reverse a linked list, but you have to play their game if you want to work for them. NeetCode.io is the most efficient and effective prep material when it comes to learning algorithm questions, but it has a list of the most common technical interview questions and a detailed explanation video for each of them. There's NeetCode 75 and 150, 150 being the more in-depth version of 75. And I've personally used NeetCode 150 to pass a few OAs. Now, mid to smaller companies will test a lot on other concepts. They want to know if you paid attention in class. For example, they'll test you on whether you know the 4 principles of object-oriented programming, which is... See, you don't know. It's abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation. You'll want to review your OOP class materials from freshman year and make sure you know the basics of at least one language. For me, I focused on Java because it's widely used in the industry and I just also happen to be the most comfortable with it. Get referrals and apply to as many internships as possible. Whether you like it or not, as I mentioned earlier, getting a software engineering internship is a numbers game. You have to expand the range of the people who have a hold on your resume. These days, everyone and their mom is a programmer. The software engineering field is very saturated, and so luck is inevitably included in the process. So you have to increase your luck by applying to as many positions as possible and positioning yourself to get better chances. And referral is key. You probably already know this, but getting a referral is the best way to land an interview. I'll be honest, I don't think referrals are as effective and powerful as they used to be because so many people get referrals nowadays. I've gotten a few referrals, but all it did was move my resume to the top of the resume list, and so the hiring manager will be able to see my resume before everyone else's. It used to be that like if you get a referral, you can skip the OA and go straight to the interview, but a lot of the companies don't do that anymore. But it's still really big because most resumes aren't even read by the hiring manager. A huge chunk of the resumes are just cut off by the ATS or the application tracking system. What I'm about to say is something that you probably hear very often from tech professionals. It's because it's true. It's go out there and meet people. Go to networking events, talk to professors, become friends with your CS classmates. Your best bet is entering a company through someone you know. I hope you found this video helpful and I gave some insight into the software engineering internship application process. See you guys next time.